Hello everybody, I'm the Fallout Riser, and welcome back to my apocalypse. Today, we are going to be looking into one of Fallout's most popular creatures, the Ghoul, but more specifically, the Feral Ghoul. Everyone knows that the Feral Ghoul, as the name suggests, is very feral, and is very dangerous to the unsuspecting wastelander. But we never get a specific diagnosis of what is actually wrong with him. And the question is, what is wrong with him besides just a large amount of radiation sickness? Today, we are going to be discovering that answer. As you can see, this feral ghoul is contorted and disfigured, just like many of its brethren. It has a missing nose, its eyes are a glowing yellow, but that might just be a creative choice by Bethesda. It has splotchy skin, which might have pus under it. It has missing hair, and its skin is very pale and is missing a lot of melanin. Another feature is its very baggy skin. This is most likely caused by the lack of their muscle tissue and is most likely feeding into their sense of madness, because the human body requires a certain amount of muscle tissue, and this might have caused some mental damage with a person early on once they were becoming a ghoul, let alone a feral ghoul. As you can see here, the feet are almost molded together. Now, you could say that this is just the graphics of Fallout 4, or it could just be something Bethesda chose to do, but I'd like to say that this is actually how they are. It seems that there's actually dark patches on the bottom of the feet, which is actually very much not how the human body works, as well as with the hands. You see, humans, usually, their hands and feet have less melanin and pigmentation there, and the feral ghouls have actually these dark spots, which I assume is either dirt or mud. It's possible this was just another mutation, however. As you can see, there are slight cracks or slits in their feet. That was most likely their toes. Of course, their hands are not so molded together, or webbed, if you will. And speaking of their hands, their nails are extremely long and protruding. They're yellow and brown in color. And obviously, because they don't have any sense of mental capability above what would be perhaps a monkey or something of that sort, they have no want or desire to trim those nails. And this, of course, could help them crack open something to eat it, if it's a can of Spam, or if it's something, most likely, something a little more alive, such as a animal, or hopefully not, but a human. As you can see, with the nose and the scratch marks on their faces, this ghoul is bloodied, and as you can see, with much more of the ghouls that are lying around here, that is not the blood of any ordinary human. That is the blood of a ghoul. And it still registers as human blood. It's even colored correctly. That's red. That's red blood, right there. So we could see by all these details that they are not so far gone that if you were to analyze their DNA, that most likely you could probably still tell that this is a human and perhaps isn't indistinguishable from one of us, but is simply contorted into something that shouldn't have never happened. Another detail, which probably goes missing because they're so fast and you want to get rid of them as soon as possible, is their mouth. Now, starting with the teeth, the front of the mouth. They're yellow, maybe a little bit of brown. They are shredded, and clearly they've been broken up so they can chew on bones and other meat sources, so they can be strictly carnivores. Their gums have receded to the point that you can see them just by them slightly opening up their mouth. And their tongue is a whole other thing. You can see right there, their tongue. It's splotchy and has cracks in it. Many modern day people have this, but that is usually the source of drinking too much caffeine, something a little too much carbonated. You might know what I'm really talking about there, which is too many sodas, or too much carbonated drinks. It can be anything from carbonated water all the way up to your favorite Nuka-Cola bottle. And as we can see, my final point here is that every feral ghoul, except for one, is very, very slim. It's very, very easy to notice that they have, as I said before, baggy skin and are very slim. So it seems that perhaps the feral ghoul can go a very long time without food or any necessary bodily necessities. Now, what would this conclude to? Well, I think we should do a little more research. So I'd say, let's move on to our next ghoul. We are now in Fallout New Vegas to see the different design choices made by Fallout. Dang it. We are now in Fallout New Vegas to see the different design choices of feral ghouls throughout the years. Now, specifically, the feral ghoul Reaver is a very skinny feral ghoul. Now, you can see here that might be bits of the brain, or perhaps the skull, coming out of the feral ghoul's head. Their eyes are very cloudy, and it's very believable that they might not be able to see anything. As well as you all can see, there's this mist or effect coming off of their bodies that is most likely radiation. Now, that might be something they have in common with the feral ghoul, the glowing one. And perhaps they suffered a similar amount of radiation damage / poisoning. And as you all can see as well, they are wearing metal armor, which perhaps showed that they were scavengers or of a higher level NPC before they turned into a feral ghoul in the story of Fallout. Now, what can we take from this? We can take that feral ghouls have always been, and will continue to be, a very radiation-damaged human being. And that they will continue to be that throughout the years. But also, their attacks remain unchanged. They are very fast, and they have also been a very formidable opponent to the Lone Wanderer, the Courier, and the Sole Survivor in all three of those most recent games of Fallout. As you can see here with the glowing one, it has a similar effect to the feral ghoul reaver, and its skin is green. Its veins are dark, and you can see them throughout its body. And even on its head, the veins are purplish. It has those cloudy eyes as we've seen before. And it is very skinny and tattered clothing. Now, Bethesda made a design choice here that is not entirely true. Of course, as you can see here, its skin color is green, but that isn't really true of what happens in real life. It is a stereotype that happens with a lot of people thinking, oh, well, you might think when someone gets a lot of radiation sickness, they're going to turn green, because what color do you associate with radiation? Either green or orange, because of what they put with the radiation signs. But in actuality, the color that a person might turn when they suffer from radiation poisoning is either a very pale skin color, depending on who you are as a person, what your skin color is originally, or maybe even a bit of blue. And with the purple veins, I'd say they actually did a little bit of research, because they know that's what happens to a person. And they even had this one, I believe, this might just be their shoulder, but no, actually, that is a bit of a lump growing on their shoulder, as you can see there. Perhaps a tumor of some sort. In conclusion, a diagnosis of a feral ghoul isn't entirely possible, because the feral ghoul is of course not a sentient human being anymore. Just as we can't give a diagnosis to a bear or a dog because it isn't sentient enough or intelligent enough to talk to us nor speak to us. But a feral ghoul still does have some resemblance of intelligence and humanity. So, if we were to give it a slight diagnosis, please take this with a grain of salt. I would diagnose it with plain psychopathy, ordinary psychopathy, and hostile imitations of what it would be to be a very paranoid human being. Because as we can see, and as we have seen in the Fallout games, feral ghouls are not going to attack other feral ghouls or even regular ghouls, because they see them as either a part of their family, or perhaps, as you heard in stories of actual creatures in real life, would there be their pack, if you want to take that as what they would be with, either their family or their pack, and you could see that as a reason that we cannot diagnose them. But the thing is that they are extremely cannibalistic, and they see no remorse, and they feel no remorse in what they do to people or anything around them. They simply want to survive, and this would be something you can call psychopathy, but they really just do this so they aren't as hungry anymore, or so they can survive. And they're going off of baseless animal instinct, and most likely the parts of their brain that they're still using is just their normal brain stem and the small portions of the brain that's still connected to the brainstem. The rest of their brain that helps regular humans like you and I be sentient and intelligent aren't functioning anymore, or do not receive oxygen to the brain. These feral ghouls are tortured beings, and unfortunately, and most likely, we'll never be able to do anything to help them. Fallout's ghouls are a staple of Fallout's history, and are a very key point in the Fallout universe. They show how radiation from the nuclear bombs could destroy a person's life,
even when it makes them immortal, still, is that really any way someone would want to live? It's not really even human anymore. It's just a creature that possibly should not exist. But what are your thoughts? Please comment down on this video if you have new ideas for this channel, new theories, or simply want to interact with me and comment on what you thought of this video. Please like and subscribe, as I am a new channel and I would love to grow my channel with you all. And remember that this was my apocalypse. Thank you and have a great night.